Hello, MV-Timers, it's just your friendly neighborhood INFP, and in today's video, I wanted to talk to you, the INFP. And this is something I had been thinking about for the last week or so, and it's more on just seeing the INFP struggles and knowing the INFP struggles, especially with myself, and knowing that we tend to have difficulty starting things or achieving things or going forward towards our goals and dreams. And I'm not saying that all INFPs are not achieving their dreams. It's just how to achieve your dreams as an INFP, especially if you are struggling, because one of the things many INFPs struggle with, and some other types, is that we have this sense of perfectionism in us, this sense of idealization, this sense of putting things on a pedestal. And if it's not how we envisioned it, if it's not how we see it, if it's not how we wanted it, if it doesn't have the results we're looking for, we tend to give up, we tend to get upset, we tend to, in gamer terms, rage quit in some way, shape, or form, which is unfortunate, but on the other hand, it also leaves this procrastination in us because we haven't allowed ourselves to fail. We haven't allowed ourselves to go through those experiences. And perhaps some of it is due to fear. Perhaps some of it is due to idealization. Perhaps it's even a combination of so many different things. So with that being said, how do you achieve what you want as an INFP? And now I could, of course, put in the joke of Shia LaBeouf's Just Do It. But that doesn't really help us as INFPs, because even though we're told to just do it, it feels like there's no substance behind it. It feels like, well, okay, yeah, I know we should just do it, but, and then excuse after excuse after excuse, and wanting things to be perfect, wanting things to be a certain way, wanting things to go about various means. And honestly, while Shia LaBeouf's advice in that video is good, and other people will go and do the things, INFPs have a bit of a problem, because the things we do, we want there to be meaning in it, we want to have purpose in it, we want it to be just right, we want to know that what we're doing is going to be appreciated in some way, shape, or form. We have all these things that we envision for it that hold us back. So, how then do we go forward? If just do it mentality isn't going to work, how can we make it work? And to there, I say we're going to need to find meaning. We're going to want to find acceptance. We're going to want to find ideas. We're going to essentially want to throw a bunch of things at the wall, try many different things, because that is how our knee works, is we have to come across so many different ideas and then try it all, and then find out what we find most enjoyment in doing, what we find most thrill in doing, what we find meaning behind, and so on and so forth. And then to have the acceptance that it's not going to be perfect at the start, to have the acceptance that we are going to fail, to have the acceptance that right away we are not going to be reaching our ideals, to have the acceptance that things don't just automatically fall into place. And it's something that a lot of us INFPs struggle with. I've struggled with. It's like a lot of my lamenting is looking back at the past and going, why what held me back then? Why didn't I start then? How was I so stupid? Why did I do that? Why did I let myself fail so miserably? Like, yes, I was learning. Yes, I was going through mental duress. Yes, I was, doing a bunch of different things. Yes, I was reclusive. Yes, I had the perfectionist tendencies. Yes, I had all these things. And for some of us INFPs, sometimes we need help. And if we don't get the help that we're looking for, and this can be true with any type, if we're not getting the help that we're looking for, it can spell trouble. And I realized that sometimes going about things alone isn't the best option. And so I have unfortunately needed to go about several things alone, and I've had to try and bring in other people. And another problem for us INFPs, I feel, especially those on a more shy nature or reclusive nature, we have a tremendously difficult time asking for help. We have a tremendously difficult time asking questions. We have a tremendously difficult time finding what we need to do. We have a tremendously difficult time networking. Now, this could be said about many different introverted types, but there are certain introverted types who are a lot better at networking than we are. So that's besides the point. And some have been blessed to be in various positions where they have been able to network, but that isn't everybody. That isn't in every case. That isn't every situation. So part of it, I feel, is getting over that fear, getting over the guilt, getting over the feeling, that negative feeling inside of you that you are wasting somebody else's time who doesn't consider it you wasting their time. And I guess this is also part of self-esteem issues. INFPs struggle with a lot of self-esteem issues. And it's difficult to know where to begin and where to end. It's difficult to know how to sometimes build up that self-confidence, especially if you've been in situations where you haven't had the chance to be self-confident or have high self-esteem or to be creative or to be allowed to experiment with a bunch of different things and to be like true to yourself. Not everybody gets that privilege. Not everybody gets that experience. And for INFPs, that experience is almost vital for us to be able to be a creative without hindrance. And so the question is that, knowing that life is what life is, how do you not let that stop you? How do you let your creativity flow? And to which I say once again, you're gonna have to find that meaning, you're going to have to find that joy, you're going to have to search, and then you're going to have to essentially bite the bullet, take a few deep breaths, close your eyes, maybe squint real hard, and just like maybe like press the button and just like see what happens. And after that initial time, after that first initial step, you may realize that it's not as negative as you thought it was. You may realize that even despite all the imperfections and everything, people still like it. You may find that, oh, wait a minute. This is okay. This is good. People like this. I can keep doing this. And then you get that muse. And there is the other bit where when it comes to helping out INFPs, it doesn't necessarily have to be schedule based. You can help INFPs in so many different ways. Or INFPs can get, like us INFPs can get help in so many different ways. One of those ways is finding somebody who can be your muse. Finding someone who wants to see your work, who looks at it and thinks, wow, this is amazing, even though you're looking at it going, well, it's nothing special. Not over, being humble or anything, but more, it's nothing special in a I don't view myself highly type of way. Like I am less than these other people, which is an unfortunate thing that we INFPs have, once again, because the things that we see are not perfect. We are our own worst critics. And because we are our own worst critics, we tend to underestimate our capability of doing things. So when it comes to finding a muse who just loves your work, and it can just be one person can create the spark that allows you to create. I remember when I was in Australia, when I was writing poetry, there was this kid who when he saw me writing, he wanted to see what I wrote. And he would read it and he'd go, wow, this is so cool, and wow, and he'd be flipping through the book, and he'd be flipping through my notebooks and going through all the poems, and he's like, do you have any more? Where's the rest of it? And that joy, that spark, that motivation is what allowed me to just finish an entire book of poetry. And he was able to read it, and I don't think it will ever. I mean, it might happen again in the future. I don't know at what point, but I do remember that in his case, when he was doing a project for English, he had to write a poem, and there is a certain level of pride. I don't care what type you are. But there is a certain level of pride you feel when somebody emulates your work, when somebody copies your style, when somebody uses your formula to create their own thing, to go about their own style. And seeing that the kid had done the same 4 lines, space, 4 lines, like the way I write poetry for his school project, and wanted me to read it, there is so much pride in that. And this is where having that kind of muse is so helpful, because it inspires us INFPs to continue creating. And why? Because there is meaning. We see tangible evidence of meaning that inspires us to create more, to exercise our ideas, to do more, to go further, to try harder, to be better. And if we don't have that, if we're just doing it for ourselves, which is fine, but if we're just doing it for ourselves, I found that it is a lot harder. Because it's a lot harder to find meaning for yourself. Part of the reasons why I do these videos and have done other videos is because part of me hopes that other people are entertained by it. Part of me hopes that people learn from it. Part of me hopes somebody somewhere is getting something from it that they enjoy. And so there's my meaning that I enjoy doing this, but I also enjoy entertaining and teaching others and thinking philosophical thoughts and all of that. So once again, for you INFPs who struggle with perfectionism and procrastination and all of that, to you I say, find your meaning. Find the reason to start. Find the reason to click and go. Find what it is that is holding you back, and find that acceptance to allow yourself to fail and improve, because you will never reach that level of perfectionism that you are seeking if you don't allow that to happen. And nothing you ever do, and this should be both motivational and also kind of melancholic. Nothing you ever do will be quote unquote perfect. There will always be some level of imperfection. But that's okay, because you can keep improving anyways. You can keep making the next thing better, and then the next thing better. That is who we are. Like, we are creative beings. And you need to allow yourself to create. You need to allow yourself to have that time where maybe you aren't as noticed, but you need to keep going. You need to keep doing it. You don't, whatever it is you're doing, do not stop. Keep doing it, keep creating, keep moving forward. And even if things seem difficult, remind yourself why you started in the first place. Remind yourself why it is what it was. If you've lost meaning behind it, or if you see it as like, okay, well, this isn't something I want to do anymore, that's fine. That's also part of throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. The point is to start with a purpose, start with a meaning, finding that meaning, and having the acceptance that even if this isn't perfect, it's okay to start doing. And until you're able to get to that point, I kind of feel like you might be held back from doing what you really want to do and want to create and want to share with others. So that has been essentially my advice for us INFPs, because, you know, personal experience and all of that. And maybe this helps one of you. And even if you aren't an INFP, maybe this helps you as well. With that being said, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.